Good afternoon, everybody. My name's 𝗣𝗿cie𝗠𝗁𝗲. I'm the CEO of NABS. And for those of you that don't know NABS, we are your industry's charity. So we are here to support your life in advertising and media through the ups and downs of that journey. Our approach is very much to try and enable people to find your own way through challenges, find the solutions that are right for you. And a core part of that we often find starts with your own sense of self-belief. And your own sense of self. So I'd like to thank AdWeek Europe for giving NABS the opportunity to introduce you to 𝗣𝗿cie𝗠𝗃𝗁𝗍 at a time when a sense of purpose for individuals as well as brands has never been more strong. Who better than somebody with a strong sense of purpose and one of the happiest 100 people in the country to come and talk to you today. Thank you and welcome, 𝗣𝗿cie𝗠𝗃𝗁𝗍.
Okay, before we get started, I am going to ask you all just to forget you're here at AdWeek. I want you to go back into your childhood. I want you to pretend you're sitting there in shorts and a t-shirt and just basically go along with anything I say. So the first thing I want you to do is just, if you can all quickly just stand up. And then I want you to turn to the people either side of you, behind you, and just give them a hug and say, it's awesome that you're here. All right. Stay standing. I've got one other thing I want you to do. And that is, just pick someone you don't know who's around you. And I'm just going to give you 30 seconds to make up a special little handshake between the two of you. Anything you like. High fives, kicks, shoulder rubs, noises. You got 30 seconds. Go. Someone you don't know. There's some people taking it so seriously. All right, okay, everyone sit down. I'm not going to torture you anymore. At least for a little while. So, I think whenever I go and speak to anyone, I want people to know kind of the backstory of who's speaking to them. And this is my family, the 𝗍𝗿𝗍𝗁𝗍. We are utterly bonkers, super wild. If you get us all at a party, it absolutely goes off. One example is last Christmas, my mum, we all went home for Christmas, and my mum bought 12 onesies and wanted us all to put all the onesies on and go running round her local village before Christmas lunch. And like that fitness side of thing, that runs in the blood as well. All super fit people. I think nearly everyone there has got international medals apart from myself. And 5 of us, my mum and my dad, my 2 sisters, myself, we all ran the London Marathon a few years ago. And to put it into context, me and my younger sister on the right-hand side were competing for Great Britain at triathlon at that time. Who do you think posted the fastest time? My mum, my dad, my 2 sisters, and myself. Any volunteers? My mum. Everyone gets it every single time. Mum, at something like 60 years old, beat the 2 of us. I had an absolute nightmare that day. But anyway, so me as a child, I'm dyslexic, a little bit hyperactive, and I used to come home from school. I got in trouble. There was red pen all over my work, and I used to say to my dad, this is what all the kids are doing. These are the grades I'm getting, and my dad just had a simple answer to all of it. And that is just be yourself. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. And I think if he'd known how many sleepless nights he was going to have because of that statement, he probably would take it back. A perfect example of this is I was 11 years old. We're graduating, going up to high school. We're all the kids from year 6 that are in a line here. And the head teacher said, what do you want to do when you leave school? And we had kind of footballer, doctor, vet, and it got to me and I was this super duper skinny kid with really big ears. Like without the ears, you probably wouldn't have seen me. And I said I wanted to cycle around the world and raise money for charity. And that kind of just shows you this kind of slightly strange skew that I started taking in life. But it didn't always go that way. And I went on to uni and I started a job in corporate finance. It wasn't really what I was striving for. I used to cry on the way to work, thinking, I'm 21 years old. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to work until I'm 50. This is the next 70. This is the next 50 years of my life doing this. I used to sometimes cry at my desk. And the thing that really blew my mind was that we are all individuals. We can be recognized by our DNA, our heart murmur, our fingerprint. Now we go through the airports, they just look at our iris and we let through. And how can someone so unique be put in a box and be asked to do exactly the same job as the person next to them? That super duper blew my mind. Okay, we've had a slide removed. But so the thing that kept me sane during this time was the fact that I was doing my cycling. I used to go out, we'd go up into the Alps, we'd go crazy with all the other athletes. And there was this one time I was cycling along, going up Col d'Èze in Nice. And cycling along behind the guys, drafting the guys in front, and suddenly I clipped the wheel of the guy in front. And my bike pushes his over this way, and he rams his round like this, pulls his back upright. But that flipped my bike, and it flipped it to the right-hand side. Both wheels took off, I'm in the air, the bike's in the air. But unfortunately for me, there was a cliff on the right-hand side. And I remember in absolute slow motion, graphic detail, HD, me flipping over, seeing the edge where I was falling off, one little weed, grabbing it between my fingers, and so that slowly pulling out. And I can remember even seeing the soil that came off the roots. The next thing I know, I'm lying on the floor and I can't feel my body. It felt about, normally there's a picture just in here of me lying at the bottom of a cliff that someone took from, some very nice soul took from above. And so I fell about 15 meters amongst jagged rocks, but fortunately I've landed in a bush that just pierced both my buttocks. But I'm lying there, I can't feel my body. There's this tiny little tingle in my right toe, and it suddenly rushes up my right leg, down my left, into my chest, down into my arms. Then suddenly I'm able to look up at the people who are crying and screaming up above and go, I think I'm alive! And the ironic thing is that when I was falling to what should have been my certain death, I was more alive than I'd been these past few years doing something that wasn't truly me, wasn't being me. And within a very, very short period of time, I decided I was going to cycle around the world and raise money for charity. And it wasn't until I told my mum that I was doing that, so she reminded me of that dream I'd had 20 years ago. And had absolutely wild adventures. Being on adventures like this, there's something crazy happens every day. Something completely mind-blowing happens probably every third day or something like this. I'm going to tell you a bit about these things a bit later on. Whilst I was away, I blogged a bit, and when I got home, people were saying, Dan, what you were writing was brilliant, and I decided to put it all into a book and thought, I'm going to write this for my niece and nephew, but I'll get it put. And it ended up finding, a publisher found me and said they wanted to publish it. And that book went on to sell 140,000 copies. It's a bestseller. It's won awards. But still inside me, like inside every single one of us, is the child that's been told he's absolutely rubbish at English, has had red pen all over his books. And even now, when I'm asked to introduce myself and what I do, I'll never ever say that I've written this book and I've written another book afterwards, which sold equally well, because of that. The negative comments, the negative things that happened. After that, I was dyslexic. The thing I was worst at was writing, and then suddenly you've got a best-selling book, and then you start to wonder, well, what else can you do? The possibilities are endless. And the bombs went off at the Boston Marathon, April 15th. And I'm sitting there at home. I'd just been for a run. I'm sitting there with a friend. And all the news are coming through on Facebook, on the radio. And I thought, we've just got to do something about this. This was running transcends boundaries. And this had been my family. Basically, my running family had been attacked. And I thought we had to do something about it. And so within 7 weeks, we were setting off from LA, having organised a relay run, 3,300 miles. We split it up into 10-mile segments. We'd put it out onto the internet and ask people to sign up to them and then fundraise for their section. And we needed 300 people to make it possible. we hoped we'd raise 15 or 20,000. And what actually happened is thousands and thousands of people signed up, and we raised $600,000. And you can just see, this is the very end in Boston. The streams of people went back as if it was the London Marathon. We had thousands and thousands of people signed up to that last leg to show support. I'm actually organising a relay around the world now at this kind of time when humanity is falling to pieces. A relay naturally brings people together. You're connecting people. And my idea is that if we can start connecting people in a relay, they can start connecting in real life as well. I'll talk a little bit about that as well. After I got back from that, set up Project Awesome. Has anyone heard of Project Awesome here in the... No, you should have done. It's a free fitness movement at 6:30 in the morning. It's super colourful, super loud. It's been supported by all the national press, all the magazines. The UN had us do something today where we had a massive paint fight and smoke grenades and all sorts of things. But really, it's a community that is based around fitness. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as well. All these things were happening. The biggest thing for me, probably, that could have happened was that I wanted to be on telly, and I wanted to kind of have a little something like that was going on. And I was asked to be on Ultimate Hell Week. I'm going to expect no one's heard of it. Anyone heard of it? Reggie Yates. It's just finished, actually. I was on the first series. So it's BBC Two, it's on prime time, and it was the toughest and fittest people in the UK were going to be blitzed and annihilated by a whole host of SAS special forces from around the world. It was horrendous. Fortunately, I came second, and I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit as well. But before I went on, this is my dream come true. The moment I've been working for all my life. And that morning I was supposed to go on to the show. We were being asked to hand in our mobile phones as soon as we had gone down for breakfast. And I'm on my way down, and I get this email from The Independent, and they're saying, you've been voted as one of the 100 happiest people in the UK. And for me, this blew my mind. And it feels like it's the greatest thing I've achieved throughout my whole life so far. And the reason that is because everything else that I've done, whether it's the adventures, whether it's to helping people, setting up communities, all of that has only been possible because of this positive outlook, this happiness that I've shown. And I'm going to just speak to you today 5 little points on how you can make yourself more happy. I'll tell you a few stories along the way. The first thing, there's 4 different types of happiness. I'll quickly go through them. First one, top left, is about things. It's when you acquire things. Hands up who's got an iPhone 7. Did it feel quite cool when you got it the first time round? How long did that last? A day? Maybe a week. It's pretty short-lived. This type of happiness is really, really short-lived. Second one is the top right, and it's ego-driven. It's when you achieve. It's when you win a race. It's when you get the promotion. It's when you're told someone likes what you're doing. That's super good. But at the same time, unless you're Usain Bolt, there's always going to be someone faster than you. There's always going to be someone better than you. And so it's a really, really unstable happiness, because as soon as someone gets better than you, you're knocked down and your happiness disappears. The third one is all about connecting. It's about connecting with humanity. It's about connecting with our universe. And that's the one that's probably most accessible and most long-lasting that most of the people in this room can achieve. The fourth one is enlightenment. I've never ever got anywhere close to it. If you have, please talk to me afterwards and give me some hints. So I'm going to talk to you about 5 different ways in which you can improve your happiness. And the first one is to face your fears. We've all got fears. Fears are barriers that keep us from doing things. Some of these are probably clever things. They stop us jumping off a cliff or falling off a cliff. But some of them are ridiculous. And whether it's speaking to your boss, whether it's asking for a promotion, maybe it's talking to that guy on the bus who you see every single day, those ones are just silly ones. You should just go and do them. And if you step past the first barrier, and nothing happens, no one falls, like today, you hugged the people next to you, a little bit awkward, but no one died, did they? So you've stepped past that first barrier. And then he asks you to do a little handshake. Second barrier, you've passed it. And as soon as you start going through these barriers, the rest of the barriers take on this kind of translucent look that maybe they aren't invincible either, because nothing's happening. You pass another one, and another one, and another one, and slowly those barriers just disappear. They go up in smoke. And that's how I find myself now, in that, of course, I'm fearful of losing my parents or my sisters or whatever, but these silly ideas, these silly fears that we get in our heads, they don't exist anymore. And you can do that with really, really small steps initially, and then start being more confident and taking them to new levels. The second one is to see through the eye of a journalist. And this is basically saying, no matter what happens, you can find a story, you can find a little chink of happiness, positivity in whatever is going on. I'm going to tell you 2 examples of when I was going to India on the bicycle. The first one, I'm walking along, I was in the Ukraine, I finished biking for the day, and suddenly this guy jumps out and puts this gun against my head. And I can still feel that cold barrel of the gun against my forehead, even now as I speak to you. And he's shouting at me in Russian, very, very, very aggressive. And 95% of me is shitting myself. I'm thinking I'm going to die. There's probably a few percent which is wondering how I'm going to get my body home to my mum. But there is this tiny little percent in my brain that thought, this is going to make an awesome blog post. And with that thought, it made me smile. And with my smile, he dropped his gun. He replaced it with a glass and a bottle of vodka and forced me to drink vodka until I passed out. But I think that was a better situation than I was in before. And I think this is such a super example to people, that your smile can be the most disarming thing that you've got in your armory. I mean, I could have had a backup of people, I could have had a weapon, but nothing works as well as that smile did. And you can kind of bring that into your own life as well. Another example of finding that little chink of positive is I was in India. I met up with 3 other cyclists that were going around India on their bikes. They were so sick, it was horrendous. Both ends, fighting for the toilet bowl, really, really nasty. And it was in the nighttime, they'd all lain down, and eventually all 3 of them were asleep, and I was just like, thank goodness for that. And I lay down myself, light was off, pitch black, and I was lying there, and I could just feel these things tapping on my head. And I had a few bad experiences before, and I thought, oh God, bed bugs again. And so my bag was down by the side of my bed, I reached into it, opened it up, I found my roll mat, and I kind of put my roll mat out on my bed, hoping that was going to stop them, because they'd have to get through that first. And so I lay on top of that, and still, I'm feeling these hits. And the worst ones where they actually went right into that little centre of your eye. That was really, really, really nasty. But anyway, I was totally tired, managed to still fall asleep, even under that kind of that pressure. And the next morning, I woke up, walked into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, just making sure I'm still looking super hot. Walked past and I thought, oh, a minute, I've aged about 20 years overnight. And I stepped back, and there's this little shard of a mirror here, and I looked in close. And my beard and my hair had all gone from ginger to white. Looking even closer, I saw that my beard and my hair was totally full of maggots. And you would think your normal reaction is probably to get them the hell out of there. But in my head, they were dripping from my beard. It was gross. But I'm stopping them falling out. I'm trying to get them back in. I'm shouting to the guys that are still lying in bed sick to get the camera so I can get a picture of myself with all these maggots in. And I never actually saw the guys who were sick ever again. So that picture is probably somewhere on the web, but I've never seen it. But basically, they're horrible situations, but I've just turned them into kind of positive things, but just like using your mind. And you can do that with every single thing, every experience you're having. You're made redundant. It's not the greatest thing, but who knows where that's going to take you in terms of your absolute dream job. Those sorts of ideas. So if you just keep that in your mind, super good. Next one is just helping people. Helping people is phenomenal. This guy here is John Oden. He was standing at the finish line of One Run for Boston, finish line of the Boston Marathon, and his daughter in white there was running the marathon. She got stopped at 20 miles and said something's happened at the end, you can't go any further. What she didn't know was that her dad, who was there he'd come over from LA to see her, was lying in a pool of his own blood with his legs being lacerated by these bombs. And this is actually I think it's 11 weeks after that happened. He is the person that survived losing the most blood on the operating table, and he died twice on the operating table. He actually supported our run, and she passed the baton to him at the end with just 5 meters to go, and she pushed him across in his wheelchair. And that night, he looked up at me and he said, Dan, this is when I can start to heal. And that moment for me, £600,000, I don't care about that. That was the real moment for doing it. We have changed that person's life. And the second time we ran across, lots and lots of the survivors came along, and they were very, very scared about going back to that place, haunted by it. But after the thousands of people had come around the corner and passed the baton to them and walked across the finish line together, people were saying it's the first time they've smiled since before the bombings. There were parents of people who had actually passed away, 4 people passed away, who were just so happy that something so good had come from this tragedy. If you can help people, you can see the happiness in their face. That just reflects back onto you, and you just feel doubly good. So, and like there's unlimited opportunity within your careers to help, whether it's the new starter, whether it's your colleague. And I would suggest that helping rather than kind of grabbing for yourself is probably going to make you a much happier person, and all the money in the world can't buy happiness. So I was just a little thing to have in your head. The next one is to be in the now. If you can be in the now, it's the most powerful thing. This is actually cycling through the Himalayas on that same ride. In this situation here, there was no pressure from friends or colleagues. There was no pressure from my parents. There was no pressure from social media. What is social norms here? There was no pressure to perform in any certain way. And without those pressures, all those pressures taken off side by side, piece by piece, you're just left with this core you. It's absolute pure value of yourself. And coming back to London, getting involved in everything again, that's one of the hardest things I've found to recreate. And I love running, I love rock climbing. They're the times when I actually revisit this place where I'm not thinking about anyone else, only what I'm doing now. And I've been a little bit kind of anti-meditation, all those sorts of things, and I've just started doing it, and it's utterly changing my life. 10 minutes of quiet when my brain is whizzing and so excited all the time. That is absolutely changing my life. My last one is, fifth point is to find your tribe. And I think you're kind of doing that even today. You're, this advertising tribe that you're within, people are helping you. NABS is very much helping, they're giving you the helping hand whenever you need it. Finding your tribe. My tribe is Project Awesome. It's the 6:30 workouts. The things that happen is fitness. There's hundreds of other fitness communities. But Project Awesome has this tribe-like feel. And we work out, we always hug at the beginning, we always do something that kind of challenges you socially, breaking down some barriers. And then afterwards we go to the coffee shop afterwards, and you're very much encouraged to just be yourself. My dad's words are ringing through all the time. Just be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. And people actually come along, even if they're injured, to just be themselves for 1 hour every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And I set up this tribe. Being part of a tribe is amazing. It's what all humans absolutely crave for. But leading your own tribe is something super duper special. And I would kind of suggest, maybe we can even do it just for 10 seconds now, just to think back to your childhood. What were those things you loved? What are the things that give you real presence of mind, things that make you feel you're really in the now? Let's just have 10 seconds, think of those. Think of what they are. Find your tribe. Find your tribe of people. There's 8 billion people in the world. If you're thinking it, other people are thinking it. So either that tribe will exist, or people are going to love you for creating a tribe if it doesn't exist already. So, we're going to... I've been talking for too long. I am going to set you a little challenge. We're going to play rock, paper, scissors. Everyone know how to play it? Hands up if you don't know how to play it. Good. Okay, we're going to do it. Best of one. 1, 2, 3, go. But what we're going to do, we're going to split you in half. Can I kind of go like this? This is our right-hand side. This is our left-hand side. You're going to need to get a little bit lively, a little bit noisy, because you're going to play the person sitting next to you, behind you, whatever you want to do. If you beat them, they're going to become your cheerleader. And you're going to find someone else who's also won, who's also going to have a cheerleader. But if you beat that person, you've got your original cheerleader, and the person you beat is going to become your cheerleader, and their cheerleaders are going to become your cheerleader. Okay? I wanted to get it down. So we've got right-hand side here, we've got one person remaining. Left-hand side, I want one person remaining, okay? Have I explained it? Does everyone understand? Good. Okay, let's stand up. I want you to forget you're at work. Forget this is a work engagement. Be kids. Playing you in the playground. Best of one. That's all we're doing, okay? I want to hear some noise. Okay, you need to find someone. Yeah, okay, we're getting some noise over here. Find someone to challenge now. The theatre have said it's fine to stand on the seats. Get involved. There's some cheerleaders not cheering over there. Find out what your person's name is. Yes, nice. Have we just got one remaining now? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, cheerleaders! Are you a winner? Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. I think our right-hand side was a little bit louder. Have we got a winner yet? We've got one more to go. Champion? Champions, come up, come up, come up, onto the stage. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on. Florian? Yes. We got Florian. And we have Nick. Oh! Nick's cheerleading squad is a lot better than yours. I'm really sorry to say it. We're going to do best of 3. 1, 2, 3, go, okay? Go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What? 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Ready? I'll go again. 1, 2, 3. She beat you anyway. 2-0. Well done, you've won, you've won. Thank you, Nick. So, what I wanted to do was just ask you guys, The atmosphere now, even the feeling right this very second, there is so much more energy. There are so many more smiles on your faces. Can you hasten a guess? Any ideas of why you are feeling probably a little bit more happy now? Connected? Any other? Childlike, acting like kids. Getting an adrenaline? Yeah. And I think adrenaline is something you gain through stepping past your fears. So it's quite a fearful thing to do. Any other thoughts?
We're a tribe.
Yeah, you created your left and your right tribes. And the right tribe won. But left tribe, you were louder, so that pretty much makes you winners. So, yeah, there's all these amazing things that go on when you just kind of start forget. And did anyone feel like kind of forget where they were? Yeah, it's amazing. It's rock, paper, scissors. It's just a silly game. But if you do it in the right way, change the way you're thinking, and everything just becomes a little bit more entertaining. So I reached out to the oracle that is Facebook, and because I wanted to know what we could do right this very second to help ourselves. And these are the examples that people came up with. And I've probably cherry-picked a few. So, stop caring what other people think. Now, this moment. That's exactly what you just did. Forget the fact that we're all a little bit embarrassed to be acting like idiots in front of our friends, our colleagues. Believe in yourself. That is so, so, so important. It's not just important. It's not just important for athletes or for artists. It's important in every single career that you're going to be doing. If you have belief in yourself, other people are going to believe in you. And that's going to be fed through with even if you are the best actor in the world. If you don't believe in yourself, people aren't going to pick that vibe up. And I think that's probably one of the most important things you can probably take with you. The last third one there is just a smile. Exactly like I was saying before, it disarms people. If it can disarm a guy with a gun, it could probably disarm your boss, colleague, all these other things that are going on in your lives. And you never know, they might bring out a bottle of vodka and you might get smashed together. Get outside. I put get outside there really, mainly because most of my mates are kind of fitness people. They're people that like doing adventures and things like this. But this get outside can be just anything. What makes you happy? What makes you feel really, really good to your core? Pop that there instead of get outside. But fresh air is amazing for you. Gets rid of all those free radicals. And generally makes you feel awesome on the inside and outside. And exactly that, exactly like I was saying, find what you love doing and then do it, whatever it is. Because there's going to be people around you who are going to want to do it with you. And if you like doing it on your own, just do it on your own. So I want to put it back to you again. I want to put it back to you to speak to the people around you. You've got 1 minute to talk about something that you're going to take from this and you're going to bring it into your own life. Go, talk. Or anything else. Make stuff up. You got 20 seconds. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did anyone tell you an idea that you thought was good? Did your partner say anything to you that was great? Anyone willing to share them? Oh, you put your hand up already, so sorry, that's you.
My friend next door said that she was stay at her computer for 8 hours a day.
Wasn't going to stay.
Going to get up, go out. Just want to go out, move around, and go outside, do more of today.
That isn't just a good idea for your own self-esteem, for your own feelings. This is good for your business place. if you're sat there 8 hours a day solid on the computer, you're not being as productive as you can be. So if you can get out, I mean, one of the things that people say about my Project Awesome, and sorry I'm going to harp on about it, is that that day, they're 10 times, that's what they say, 10 times more productive than they would be if they hadn't come to Project Awesome. And I think some of that is because we achieve physically with the workout, we achieve emotionally just breaking these barriers down, we go for coffee, we have our social moments. So by about 7:45, we've achieved so much that there's no pressure on the rest of the day to achieve. And I think that's kind of something maybe you can apply, but it doesn't have to be early in the morning, maybe at lunchtime or go for a walk. Great. I think that's really, really important. Anyone else? Come on, be brave. Only got one brave person in the audience. You're all...
Tomorrow. She's going travelling.
Is this truth or is he just trying to wind you up?
No, it is kind of true. It's what I've always wanted to do, and I just have put it off for so long, wanting to work. So, oh, sorry.
Cool.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I always wanted to go travelling, and I've just put it off because work and uni and whatever. So, take the plunge.
And why do you think you've put it off?
Kind of thought it was more important to get work and get experience and do all of that than get life experience, probably.
Cool. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for encouraging people to quit.
My face on
Yeah. But super awesome. Like, it's a kind of little dream that it sounds as though you've had for a while, and I think even into these careers again, kind of going back to that past point. If you're sitting there thinking, oh God, I wish I was travelling, you're not getting much work done, are you really? So you may as well go do some travelling and then come back and work your butt off and like create dreams for people or in whatever you choose to do. Anyone else? Anyone else's life we can kind of ruin just like you did there? I really hope your boss isn't in the room. No, good. All right then, so I'm going to leave you just with one last final point, and that is to be yourself. Be you. Be you as hard as you can be, because that you is the very best you can be. Thanks for having me. And I think we've just got a tiny little window for any questions, if there are any. I'll start. Oh yeah, good. Excellent. Oh, I'm so pleased you're in the room. Thank you very much.
Any regrets? Any regrets?
Well, yes, there are regrets.
In this second part of your life.
I'm going to go to one that applied before you said that last bit. And I as a kid, I was a pretty decent boxer, and I used to do ballet as well. And I quit ballet because my mum and dad made me do exams, and I really hated it. And but I regret quitting ballet because I think that's really they're the pinnacle of physical health. After that, there's loads of regrets. Yeah, my friends. They own houses, they've got wives, they've got children, and I've got a wonderful girlfriend and I live in a nice flat in Brixton, but sometimes I think, oh God, am I moving forward in the right direction, and is this how I'm supposed to be living? So occasionally I have those regrets, but I do look deep within myself and see how utterly happy I am, and that probably means more than those things, and if it's the right time for those other things, then that's going to happen anyway. So yeah, there are regrets, but I think if you don't have any, you don't make any mistakes, or you don't kind of have a look at those other sides of your life, then you're really just kind of going blindfolded into whichever direction you're going. Any other ones? Yeah.
How do you deal with people who don't have that same positive mentality and who can be quite negative and kind of bringing you down and bringing every situation down? Do you have any techniques to try and turn them around?
And is that a friend's question or is that a work question?
It could be either.
Could be either.
More work related.
More work, yeah, because I think certain things you've got a choice over. And for myself, if there's someone who's got that negative energy, I just won't have them in my life, because it's just and I probably would, because I really, really love psychology. I really, really love just talking to people about issues and whether they're good ones or they're bad ones, and just learning a bit more about what kind of keeps people ticking. So probably have that little conversation, but if it just kind of keeps going and going and going, it's just like a washing machine of negativity, then I would just choose to kind of distance myself from them. But I know, like, you can be in a position where you haven't got that choice. But I guess you always have got that choice. You can move. Number one is to talk, hopefully to them. And maybe you can kind of find what's causing this disturbance in their life. And you might be the person that changes their life. And I guess other than that, maybe you just need to speak to the powers that be that can allow you to be away from that person. Because, you know, negativity for me, if I'm around negative people, my productivity is absolutely useless, and that will be niggling all the time. So I don't know if that helps or not, but definitely I do think talking to people, because lots of people that have a lot of negativity in their lives aren't really having conversations with anyone. So maybe that one conversation can be the one that lights up their life, and you're going to be some sort of saving star for them. Any other questions? I'm going to tell you one thing then, because people normally ask, what are you going to do next? And so obviously I'm trying to organise the relay around the world. One of the things I didn't talk about was the fact that I pogoed across Togo just because it rhymed. And a friend of mine, we went over to Togo, and we actually went to Ghana, and then we pogoed all the way across to Benin. And that was one of the most weird things I've ever done in my life. But it's a really amazing way to break down barriers, because see this weird thing going on. We're bouncing along, and we actually got really, really good at it, so that we could probably go at a kind of fairly decent running pace. And you start getting really weird muscles in places as well through doing it. That was amazing. I used that opportunity to kind of get a video out to kind of showcase Western Africa, and it's not all Nigeria and there's not all kind of badness going on. There's this beautiful side to it as well, and the way people treated us was really, really supremely amazing. And you know, historically, that's where the slave trade came from. So it's coming from people that haven't been treated so well by the British people, and now they're treating you with like kings, which is really, really a brilliant example of humanity. But I just actually started. My girlfriend likes inline skating, and so I started doing that. I've only been twice, but as soon as I started it, and I quite enjoyed it. This is another thing. Like I'll go out on a Sunday skate. It's a free fitness movement. You just cycle around London, block all the roads off. Probably a few people hating me right now, but it's really, really fun. Big sound systems and things. But as soon as I started doing the skate thing, I was thinking, hold on a minute, what rhymes with skate? And so, yeah, we're off to Kuwait to skate across Kuwait as well. And I think this might become something that we're going to start doing. So if anyone thinks of any cool activities that you can do to go across a country that rhymes with it, please let me know. One more question?
How do you fund these things through your blog?
Well, initially really, to start off with, I don't spend anything. And because I don't need happiness number one. It doesn't matter, because I've got so much of 2, 3, and that sort of stuff. But it is hard. That's one of my big regrets, not making loads and loads of money. That would be awesome. But so that's quite hard. Now I get sponsored. I'm going off tomorrow. I'm going off with Solomon to do some snow running and things like that. So basically, just by following my dream, I probably lived absolutely on the breadline for 5 years. And it's not like I've got a trust fund or anything like that. My parents are teachers. They're just kind of scraping by as they are. And so I just went for it. And then I think it was so authentic that brands start to want to be part of it. And so it's really good to talk to you guys. You're all looking very nice. If you have any brands that want to get involved. Yeah, so basically it's fine. I take priorities, really. And initially I used to have to go off and do a little bit more of corporate, a month every year or something like this. But I would not spend anything for that month, and then I would just eke that amount of money out. And nearly everything you're going to do, especially if it's a little bit weird, you can just generally get a little bit of sponsorship in and all that sort of stuff. So, but I'm definitely no finished product, and I'm not Bear Grylls yet. Cool? Oh, guys, you've been so lovely. Really, really nice. Give yourselves a round of applause.